Hello, hello, and welcome back to the Uncharted and Unfiltered, a Journey Back to You podcast. I am Cynthia Jameson, and this is the place we dive deep into these subterranean stories of transformation, challenges, and the messy middle moments that get us back to the essence of who we really are. And today, I am going to share a personal story with you, one that might hit home for a lot of you out there. It's about how what nearly broke me in my last HR job actually became my greatest strength in my work today. But before I get to that, I just want to share with you that it's so interesting to me that as I continue on this path of choosing love over fear and sharing these deeply, what feels to be, to me, deeply personal stories with you, I have started to notice something incredibly powerful. And that is, I am empowering myself in the process. With each story that I tell, with each truth that I speak, I am reclaiming my voice and strengthening my own sense of clarity and courage. It's such a beautiful reminder that vulnerability isn't weakness. It's a gateway to deeper self trust and connection. Because the more that I lean into being who I am, my authenticity, the more that I realize that this journey that I'm on isn't about just inspiring other people. It's about embodying the transformation that I want to see in myself. It's about me going first. So, with that, let me take you back a few years to my last role in HR. I was much like you probably, because I know if you're listening to this, you're a leader, you want to be a leader, and I was in the trenches. It was endless policies, meetings, calendar days full of that, corporate bureaucracy. Honestly, it was exhausting. Now, I loved the work in theory. I wanted to make such a difference. That's all I've ever wanted to do within my career is to help people thrive within the system. But instead of being a bridge for people, I felt like I was stuck trying to navigate a maze full of red tape that drained my energy every day. I was managing problems all day long, but never really feeling like I was changing anything. Now, I'm sure that a lot of you can relate to that feeling of being in that system that just feels so rigid, so political, and so isolating. And here's the interesting thing, I didn't even realize it when I was in it. So here I was stuck in this system, and it was taking such a toll on my mental, my physical well being. And at one point, I realized I couldn't keep doing it. I couldn't stay in a job that wasn't aligned with my values and expect to stay sane. Something had to give, and it really didn't matter how much money I was making. It just didn't matter. It wouldn't have been enough. It wasn't enough. So I remember the exact moment that I made the decision. I was at a meeting. I was trying to get a simple process approved. It had been almost a year, and I felt stuck. And I remember thinking to myself, I can't keep trying to fix this from within. I knew I had to leave, and so I did. I wrote my resignation letter. I went downstairs and I put it in front of my husband and I said, "Are you okay with this?" And he just nodded at me and he said, "Yes, if that's what you're wanting, absolutely, I'm okay with it. Whatever feels good to you is what I want for you too." It was a tough decision, but it was a decision that ultimately led me to where I am now. And I've talked about that before on the podcast. I've talked about the process that I used to make that decision. But here's the thing, leaving HR was not the end of the story. It was just the beginning of a whole new chapter. And the truth is, I didn't leave behind my mission to help people thrive in their careers. I just shifted how I was going to do it. I didn't need to be inside of the system to change it. Instead, I could help people, I could help leaders navigate it. I could help them challenge it. And yes, I could help them even break free of it. I became so passionate about helping leaders who felt stuck like I had find their own voice, lead with authenticity, and create teams and cultures that actually work. And that is so incredibly rewarding. That's when I began coaching externally to organizations. And here's the twist. My experience inside HR had become my secret weapon. It was so fascinating. As I onboard new clients, I always ask them, what is the thing that had you choose me to work with? And they all say the same thing. It's your HR experience. I want to be able to understand, how do I navigate this in a way that feels good, and also with someone that isn't in my organization, someone that's a neutral third party that I can brainstorm with, that I can thought partner with, that I can think about and come up with new solutions to problems that are old. We've heard this saying before, like you can't solve a problem with the thinking that created it. So I didn't just walk the talk. I lived it, and I understood the very system my clients were trying to navigate. I understood their frustration, their blind spot, their challenges, often before they did. And this is when I realized what almost broke me became the foundation of my greatest impact. Now, if I fast forward to now, I'm not just helping people play by corporate rules. I'm helping them break the mold and step into the kind of leaders that they are meant to be, because I'm sure you've noticed it's time for a different type of leadership. And there is a different way to lead. It doesn't have to look like everything that you've seen before. And so, as a coach, I've helped so many leaders who, just like me, were frustrated with the system. They came to me because they didn't need any more corporate approved advice. They didn't need any more lines or chains of command to go through. They needed somebody who had been in the trenches, who understood the politics, the frustration, the systems that weren't and are not working, and to work with someone who can help them navigate those challenges with honesty and with clarity. And it's been so rewarding to help them break free from traditional, outdated leadership norms. We talk about what it means to lead differently, to live differently, to challenge the status quo, to put people before process, to shape cultures that thrive. We work on creating spaces where leadership isn't just about, well, it's not just about, it's not about power. It's not about hierarchy. It's about empowerment. It's about trust. It's about engagement. It's about real connection. And it's not always easy because the corporate system can be tough to challenge. But what I've learned from my own journey and what I now teach is that the greatest leadership comes from being unafraid to question, to be able to make bold moves, to be able to trust your values first. Now, listen, if I would have stayed in HR, I wouldn't have been able to make the impact that I'm making today, because at first I didn't realize I was trapped by my own mindset until I was introduced to a tool that changed everything. And I'm going to link all of these tools in the show notes to you for you, because here's what I believe. I want to be my own most valuable resource, and I want that for you too. So I discovered Shazad Shamin's book, Positive Intelligence, and I discovered it through a grant program for coaches. I watched the TEDx talk about saboteur and sage, and I've talked about this on the podcast before. I did 12 Days of Christmas, not this past year, the previous year, that you can go. And I mean, all of that work is interwoven into all of this work that I've been doing, because I've been doing it since this time. Now, in this talk, this TEDx talk, Shirzad explains how we all have these two inner voices: the saboteur, which fuels negative thinking and self-doubt, and the sage, which encourages self-compassion and clarity. Think about the sage as like your inner wise guide. Now, I had spent so much time, too much time, listening to my saboteur, the voice that told me I was stuck, that I was too small to change anything, that the system was too broken. And I can see it so clearly now how I created my own self-fulfilling prophecy, which created the stress and the pressure that kept me doing the same thing day in and day out, wishing for a change but not believing it was possible. It was the definition of insanity. And what I didn't know at the time was that my sage was the one encouraging me to make that bold move, to step away from a system that wasn't serving me. It was that shift in perspective that empowered me to make the decision that would change my career and my entire life and how I was living it. So I began using this saboteur and sage framework with myself, with my clients, and through the positive intelligence saboteur assessment. They became, as I did, aware of what I describe as the inner boardroom, the inner voices, the patterns and habits that guide our decisions, often without us realizing it. And the results have been incredibly transformative. My clients can see where their saboteurs are holding them back and why, and how they can access their sage, the true part of them that knows their value, that knows their purpose, that knows their leadership potential. And it's not about being positive, it's about being aligned with the part of themselves that can overcome challenges and create change. And it's so fascinating to me because when my clients use this assessment, they don't just become more self aware. They gain clarity on how to take back control of their inner boardroom in the very best way. Not control as like, I want to know, I need to know the what and the how and the when and all the results. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a way that you are completely aware of what you're choosing for yourself from a conscious perspective. My clients start listening to their sage instead of their saboteur, which leads to empowered decision making. It's such a powerful tool that helps them tap into their true leadership capabilities and effectiveness. And once we have the awareness, once we can spot these characters, these saboteurs, and turn up the volume on the sage, things start shifting. But the magic happens when you take action from that place of clarity. Because you can have realizations, you can have awarenesses all day, every day, but if you do nothing as a result of it, nothing changes. So in my coaching, I focus on helping them lead with confidence and authenticity. I guide them to make decisions that align with their values and who they are, not the expectations of a system that doesn't understand them. It's about teaching them how to navigate the corporate world and break free from it when it's necessary to do so in a way that feels good. And that is why I am so passionate about these tools because they help leaders who feel boxed in, exhausted, and frustrated shift from being reactive to being proactive. They can lead with awareness, making choices from a place of inner power, not from fear or external pressure. Just imagine for a moment what it would feel like to have control over your inner thoughts, to be able to access the clarity of your sage when these saboteurs try to take over, and to lead in a way that aligns with who you are, with what your purpose is, with what is meaningful to you. That's the transformation I see in my clients, and that's the transformation that's available to you too. So here's the big takeaway from all of this. The things that feel like your breaking points can also be your greatest opportunities. If I hadn't walked away from HR, as I mentioned when I did, I wouldn't be in the place that I am today, helping you, helping leaders break free from the constraints of their own minds, of corporate life, and build cultures where people actually thrive. Now, it wasn't easy walking away from the system that I thought I could change. But by breaking free, I gave myself the space to find my true purpose and voice. And now I help my clients do the same. And each and every day, I feel so incredibly lucky to be able to do this work that I love. And I feel so much gratitude for each and every one of the clients who are willing to be the change that they want to see in the world. I love that what once felt like a failure has become my true superpower. So if you're out there and you're feeling frustrated, stuck, or unsure about your next step, remember, sometimes the hardest moments lead to the greatest breakthrough. And it's in those messy moments where you will find your true power. And as Robert Frost aptly said, the only way out is through. And I do hope that this episode gave you some insight into how challenges and struggles can become your stepping stones toward greatness. And if you're ready to take the next conscious step in your own leadership journey, watch the video, do the saboteur assessment, and begin moving toward a life of clarity and empowered leadership. And if you want a guide on the side or simply want to share your insights, just connect with me. With that, thank you so much for tuning in to the Uncharted and Unfiltered, A Journey Back to You podcast. If this episode resonated with you, I would love for you to share it with someone who needs to hear it. And remember, your journey doesn't have to look like anyone else's. It's yours, and you have the power to shape it. Until next week, keep leading with clarity and authenticity. I will see you same time, same place next week. I hope that you're walking away feeling more aligned with your true self, more confident in the choices ahead, and ready to leave the safe path behind, knowing you've got everything you need within. Remember, the journey to you isn't about finding one perfect direction. It's about trusting yourself enough to explore all of it. If you're ready to dive deeper, join me for the next episode and don't forget to subscribe so that you never miss the next step on your path. I invite you to join my mailing list at www.cynthiajamesoncoach.ca, where we'll deepen our relationship and you can claim your copy of Your Inner Compass, a guide to charting your course to authenticity. Until next time, stay unfiltered, stay true, and most importantly, stay you.